Little bird chirped outside the window, breaking the early morning. Silence. Wen groaned and rolled over in bed, pulling the covers tightly around her. The room was unfamiliar, the scent of untouched fabrics, and faint hints of something metallic lingering in the air. Her eyes fluttered open to a sight she never expected to see. Jimin, the notorious mafia leader, sitting in a chair by her bedside, his eyes glued to a book. His usual stern expression was replaced with one of curiosity and fascination. Her heart raced as she took in the sight of him in a simple t-shirt and sweatpants, his tattoos peeking out from the sleeves. He looked up, noticing her gaze, and a smirk played at the corner of his lips. "Good morning," he said, his voice a smooth purr that sent SH first down her. "Spini." Wine sat up, the blanket falling to her. "St. What's going on?" she asked, her voice shaking. Jimin placed the book on the bedside table and lay at Ned back, his arms folded behind his head. "You're my guest now," he said, his eyes never leaving hers. "You're safe here, but you can't leave." Her mind raced with questions, but fear held her Tio and Gui. Why had he keyed in at PP at her? Was she in danger? But as she studied him, she couldn't help but feel a strange sense of comfort in his presence. He was the most dangerous man she knew, and yet here she was, in his bed, feeling protected. Why? She finally managed to whisper. Jimin sat up, his eyes darkening with "Ain't your own city." "Because I've wanted you for a long time, YN," he confessed. "Your beauty, your intelligence." I couldn't resist. His voice grew softer, more mate. "But now that you're here, I need to know everything about you. Your favorite color, your favorite food, your deepest fears." I want it all. The tension in the room grew CK as his gaze bore into her soul. Wyan felt a mix of fear and excitement, unsure of what this new reality meant for her. She knew she should be SC at Red, but there was something about the way he talked about her, like she was the only person in the world that mattered to him. "But why me?" she pressed, her voice a little stronger. Jimin let Ned closer, his hand reaching out to gently cup her cheek. "Because," he said, his thumb brushing against her skin, "you're the only one who's ever looked at me and seen beyond the monster everyone else does. And I find that irresistible." Their eyes locked, and for a moment, it felt like the world outside the room didn't exist. The air grew hot, charged with an energy she couldn't name. Jimin's hand traveled down to her NCK, his thumb tracing the pulse point. Her breath chewed as he lay at Ned in his L. Piece just a BR yet TH away from hers. "Now tell me," he whispered, "what's your favorite color?" "Why ends?" Eyes closed as his breath danced across her face. Her heart was racing, her mind spinning. "Red," she murmured, her voice barely audible. She felt his smile against her skin as his hand fell down to her bare shoulder, his GRP firm yet gentle. Jimin lit Ned in further, his N0 youth capturing hers in a key dollar that was both fierce and tender. Wyan's body responded instinctively, melting into him as he Euro penned, the key dollar, his tongue exploring the depths of her N0 youth. It was a key dollar. That promised both Piet shun and danger, and she knew she was playing a dangerous game. But she couldn't help but CRVE more of this forbidden's love as he pulled away. His eyes searched hers, looking for a reaction. She saw the hunger in his gaze, the observation that had led him to this moment. And she realized with a start that she felt it too, a fiery re that burned through her fear and confusion. "I need you," he said, his voice gruff with need. With trembling hands, she reached up to him, her anger threading through his hair. "Take me," she whispered, her voice a breathless plea. And with that, She gave herself over to the mafia prince, ready to face whatever L at Y, ahead in this twisted THR. Ling world she never knew she'd become a part of. Jimin's eyes lit up with a predatory gleam as he pulled her into his. Apinas his key dollar is growing more DEM at NDING. He picked her up, effortlessly carrying her to the en-suite bathroom. The cool tiles of the floor contrasted with the heat of their BOD. Ease as he D her down, gently. The sound of running water filled the room as he turned on the shiro with the steam billowing out like a WRM pie ace. He stepped back, peeling off his own CL0 thess with a grace that belied his dangerous nature. The sight of his bare chest, adorned with intricate tattoos, took her breath away. His muscles pulled with power as he stepped into the shiro, were holding out a hand for her to join him. She took it, feeling the warm water cascade over her as she stepped in. Their BOD E's PR Euro said Aga, and ST each other under the spray, their Kai $ES, becoming more frantic. He ran his hands over her C pi V's, his touch setting her skin on a her own hands expel 0 red his B0D, Y feeling the STR Euro NGTH, and P0 where that L at Y beneath the surface. It was a dance of D-O me. Nance and submission, each trying to claim the other in a silent battle of wills. Jimin's hands found the hem of her shirt, L, ting it over her head. His eyes are at Ked over her, his hunger unmistakable. He took his time, his fingertips TR at sing the outline of her L at C B paye before yunking it. He TO set it aside, his gaze never let being hers as he rev Euro ailed her B at Re. See it Euro straight to the water in his hungry gaze. The Shizero were washed away, their inhibitions, their BOD. E's M0 being in his synth O Eni P at Shen. His hands row at med her B0D white leing noin achan 0 ached as he key $$ ed. And N PPED at her SK. NYN mo at Ned, her hands feed dollar ting and his HA air as he TR at ILE key $$ is D0 when her NCK is TTH grazing her send $ida flash. The warm water continued to flow around them as he DR0 pitches his knees, his hands on her wa. ST, he looked up at her, his eyes dark with need. You're mine, he murmured, before his M0 youth found her center. She G it sped, her L Euro G's TR Euro bling as he ta dollar ted her. His Tio and Guefal. Skang and Tayet sang until she was on the edge of EC dollar tazy. Her nos dug into his shoulders, her P's bucking against his face as the play sure grew to an NSE to contain. She felt her climax approaching, the W0 relled SP, ning around her in a whirlwind of send $Asian. And just when she thought she couldn't take it anymore, she shattered. Her B0DY convulsing with the force of it. Jimin stood, ting her again, as he stepped out of the Shizero where his own re-evident he carried her. To the BD, L at Yang her D0 went gently. He 0 veered over her, his eyes full of love and $$ session. You're mine, he said again, his voice a low gur 0W, and she knew in that moment that she was irrevocably his. He key $$ at her again, his Tio and Gui delving. D-Euro P as his hands row at med her B0DY. La evine trails of fire in their wake. She could feel his airtime P sing, Aga demanding entry. Wei in A, R had her back, her B0DY B Euro Jing, for more as he sell. D his BOX airs D0 win, Rev Euro alling himself to her. He positioned himself between her LGs. His hands car Euro singer TH. Gies before he pushed into her in 1 SN Zeroth, powerful SDR 0 Ke. She got $ped at the send $Asian, the feeling of him. Ins to her more in Euro knees than anything she'd ever exper, instead in 8 and H0L back Saleh. Ming her BOD why with a primal need that mirrored his obs Euro shun. Their rhythm grew fa dollar tur, their BOD. Ease moving in perfect hapaimani. Himin's eyes never left hers, the connection between them. D-Euro penning with every TH pi used. Wines N at iOS R Ked DOW on his back. Le at Ving. Marks that was surely lil, anger. She W are PP at her L Euro G's around his wa. Saint. Urging him D-Euro per and Euro ding to feel all of him. Their lovemaking was raw and unfiltered, a reflection of the tumultuous world they now found themselves in. His H. P's pounded into hers, each movement, bringing her CL0 sear to the edge of S at needy. She could feel the tension. Ling within her, ready to snap. And when it did, she used CR Euro aimed at his name, her body. Shud Euro ring with play at sure. Jimin followed shortly after, his own rel Euro ace test that meant to their shared pad dollar sign. He call it stood onto her, his BR Euro athing ragged as he buried his face in her N Euro CK. Mine, he whispered, his voice filled with a T Euro under nest that bell. At his V0 let nature dot as they L at Y there. Entangled in the aftermath, Y in. Knew that she'd made her choice. Whether it was right or wrong didn't matter. She was in L0 vel with her captor, and she'd face whatever consequences came with it. For now, though, she was content to stay in his Apaimas, $5 king in the WRMTH, and safety she never knew she'd find in the ember at sea of a monster